on, guys? Lex and Josh over from TCR Performance doing an in-cabin drive-in review of the street density or the street mounts from 034 Motorsports. So if you guys previously saw our last install video, install was pretty good. You can check on our other posts and pages for it if you'd like. And that just goes a brief introduction, and it's really not, we didn't do that much of a DIY. No, we're not good at DIYs. We just do
just kind of a run through on you know, the install, and
we'll try to get better at that, but we're not good at it at the moment. So we wanted to start off by addressing a couple of things. So first and foremost, who this mount is targeting, the parties that it's going to be focusing on. As you can probably maybe not so see, this car doesn't have an interior in it at the moment. We have a Kirky fixed back racing seat, and we have just a regular standard passenger seat in it at the moment. But this car is definitely a track-based car. So the reason why we're putting these street mounts on is because we do sometimes drive it on the street as well. And 034 wanted our opinion on it. We have a lot of experience with dealing with mounts, and so first and foremost, why you're going to want to upgrade your mount in general. I know a lot of people were questioning after the track mounts were released why you want to upgrade your mounts, and us personally frequenting the track, there's a lot of movement going on between the engine and trans, especially when you're launching these cars, and we actually experienced an engine mount failure. So or it was a trans mount, I'm sorry, I was on the trans side. And the way these mounts are actually affixed to the car is they affix to the case of the trans itself. So when we broke the trans mount, we broke the trans, and how did it shear off on the case, right? Yeah, well, it wound up breaking the bosses on the trans case where the bolts go to, and effectively ruining the case itself. You know, in some cases where it's not too bad, you can get it repaired, welded. Which is what we did. Yeah, which is what we were able to do, fortunately. But in other cases, you know, if it actually splits the case, you know, you're liable for getting another trans. So getting mounts in general, it's a good idea. It fixes things, it limits the amount of movement that you have going on. And now with these mounts, whereas without sacrificing too much NVH, now let's also be addressed, we have a complete tubular subframe in here with a solid dog bone mount. It's a poly insert, yeah. But it's pretty dense to begin with. Yeah. So you know, another factor for trying to limit engine and trans movement at launch. And right now, I could say, and I don't know how it's going to sound on the video footage, but the NVH in this is significantly less than it was with our track mounts. Track mounts, I mean, I'm not going to lie, they were dense. That's what they were meant to be. And the car kind of felt like it was going to fall apart. It was a traffic light, you know? there was quite a bit of vibration throughout from idle, throughout the power band. Especially in sport. Yeah, in sport, air conditioning on, stuff like that. Now, in a lot of cases and throughout our history, NVH was always something that it is what it is. And NVH, for anybody who doesn't know, means noise, vibration, and harshness. Right. So long the parts worked, performed the way that they should, and got us down the track faster, I could care less what the car sounded like, felt like, whatever, so long that it netted me the results that I was looking for. I mean, we were getting to a certain point with the car where it's, all right, you know, do you want to have, you know, a $68,000 track-only car, or something that you wouldn't mind getting into and driving if you're going to dinner? It'd be nice to try to find something in between. A balance. You know, a balance would be nice. We are going to be hitting the track at the next opportunity. I mean, there's no set date right now with these mounts in, to see how well they hold up and how well they perform. Now, if they perform the same way that the track mounts do, which I know there's going to be some compromising there. It is a softer rubber durometer. We're still reinforced with that billet casing, but it's just, you know, overall for comfort, they've added an additional rubber isolator to try to help with that. So, however, if these mounts are performing up to what we need them to be doing, we'll keep them in the car. Yeah. I mean, we don't mind taking them to the track with street mounts in it. And I know that 034, their target was with these mounts is your customer that is going to be hitting the track occasionally, maybe even once that time having that reinforcement of the limited mobility of your engine and trans.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the most important factor is limiting that, you know, that powertrain movement from launch, which is what's most detrimental to the mounting point.
Because you're at risk of breaking so many things if you're keeping on the stock mounts. I mean, diff failure.
It's not even that. You're talking about, you know, so diff failure as a result of wheel hop, which is one. Wheel hop is a direct result from engine and trans movement outside of your obvious traction issues. You know, the next thing that I've seen failures on these cars due to engine and trans movement under load is drive shafts. I've seen the front coupler of the drive shaft where it goes into the bevel box or the transfer case, you know, start to basically explode due to how much pressure is being put on it when the engine and trans swings back and pushes into the drive shaft itself. Had to replace one drive shaft into that condition, and you know, in the same breath, it wound up taking out the downpipe support bracket on the subframe.
It's no good.
Yeah, so you know, there's a big need for limiting drivetrain movement.
And I know a lot of people have had success with keeping the OEM mounts, and that's fine.
Or
you know,
even just an upgraded dog bone.
Yeah.
You know.
But I mean, at the same time, if this product is now out for you guys, and it's something that you're not sacrificing your car, feeling like every nut and bolt is gonna fall off of it when you're at a traffic light, you know, I think this is a definite upgrade for somebody, because right now we're at idle, you're in comfort mode. Obviously, once you're in dynamic, it's gonna be a little bit harsher. It's still in comfort.
Whatever, dude.
Yeah, but drives a lot. He doesn't drive it. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, here, drive in dynamic. Sport.
Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty quiet. And again, this is going to be different per your car. You have a full interior in it, and you know, we have noisy ass radials on this and everything. Dude, this car, there's a lot missing out of it.
There's also a lot of loose things in the car right now that are rattling around, cables and you know, laptops and whatnot. But you know, you can feel the resonance through the vehicle, you know, sitting here at a stop in drive.
There's no really vibration.
But I wouldn't say it's necessarily excessive in the sense of having upgraded mounts. You know, I would say that this is pretty acceptable when it comes to upgrading mounts and stuff like that. It's like a risk analysis of for what the potentials are for breaking things on stock mounts. And like I said, when the case broke, we had an upgraded
dog bone at the moment. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, it was the 034 spherical, the upper and the lower insert. And even with that, you know, it took one good launch and
that was it.
That was it. Yeah. You know, and for the cost of the mounts versus the cost of a trans, you know, you're looking at several $100s versus almost $10,000 to replace the transmission. So
for sure,
you know, you're looking at. I like to use a sense of or a term with these cars and like protecting your investment. You know, especially when it comes to, you know, my recommendations for doing engine builds on these. You always want to protect the investment. This isn't a Golf that you can go and call your local salvage yard where they can source, you know, a gearbox or a block or anything like that. You lose the trans in this car, and you're damn lucky if you wind up, you know, getting somebody to source you a salvaged gearbox.
Yeah.
You're more likely going through the dealership and
waiting on whenever that's gonna arrive.
Forget waiting on it.
Back order.
You'll get it after you bust your wallet open.
Well, yeah, but still, it's even a matter of just waiting for them to arrive from.
Typically
Europe.
It's like a 2-week or 3-week lead on stuff like that. That's at least what the quote they gave me.
I think they were having a back order on drive shafts for a minute.
Yeah, it was the drive shafts. But when I looked into replacing the trans before, you know, we got it fixed, it was like a 2-week lead on it. And
shout out to Ed at FFE for actually helping us out with fixing that repair.
Yeah.
We brought the car up to him. He was able to do it all while it was amongst still in the car. So that was a huge shout out to him. If you guys aren't familiar with him, he has, is it the fastest? I'm pretty sure it's the fastest Mark IV right now. And he's coming back with something else. So, you know, stay tuned for him. But yeah, he helped us out big time with that, and it's holding up. We've been to what, I don't know, 3 or 4 additional track rentals, if not more, launching this car brutally. And it's holding up good. And when we took out the transide mount, everything, the welds look great. So
no stress or fatigue there.
Big shout out. Now we actually do have a customer's car here who we're also going to do an drive-in review with. Now his name's Terry, and you guys may have seen him on the forums, and he's going to post up his own personal written review because he daily drives his car through New York City all the time, and he has what, I don't know, like 36,000 miles on his car. He has a full interior in it, so that's going to actually help us get a little bit more judgment for you guys before you make a purchase, exactly what it's like, because I know it's a little bit hard to relate to our car, but my overall opinion so far is actually really good. It was a significant difference right between startup, and you could tell almost immediately the silence that was there.
Yeah, definitely immediate notice in NVH.
I'm gonna do a quick test hit for you guys, and for us, we need to lock the car. Thanks, Terry, for letting us borrow your car. We're currently in Terry's RS3. Are you gonna steal us last 2 pieces of gum?
I was gonna, but now I'm not, because there's only 2 pieces left.
How do I know that? Because I already looked previously to steal some gum. 2018 RS3. He has a fully built bottom end and 710 kit. So we installed the street density mounts in these as well. He's also running an ECE track, right?
Yeah.
Dog bone mount. And I'm gonna be honest, from first impressions from our car to this car, it's got quite a bit. There's a lot of harshness going on here.
Yeah,
right?
there's definitely an increase in overall like chassis vibration now. I can feel.
And I'm surprised by that because, again, like I said, we have the full replacement subframe. We'll actually be doing a review about that as well, Verkline. But yeah, so I'm kind of surprised that just the dog bone is causing this much harshness.
Well,
I don't know. I'm sure ECE does have a street form of this too, but let's get driving. We'll put it in dynamic. We'll see if we have any changes with that. Seems to be alright with that. Apologize for it being dark, guys. We
work.
There's that. There's that.
But I'm hungry. Where are we getting food?
Good question.
I don't even know what I want to eat. So initial impressions are this car sucks because it's got a seatbelt ding still coated in through VCDS.
Got more pops and bangs than us. It's Unitronic ECU, boy.
But yeah, overall, I mean, so with it being full interior, I mean, I don't hear as much, obviously. Which
there's not nearly as much rattling, but again, there's just more vibrations for sure.
But overall cruising, light throttle, partial load. I would say it pretty much maintains a stock-like drivability. You know, it's the characteristics aren't harsh at all. So, you know, I have pretty high hopes for these mounts moving forward. Not only with their ability to keep up with, you know, mitigating that engine movement, but maintaining a comfortable ride that, you know, your passengers might not appreciate the harshness. You know, even when, you know, us as, you know, enthusiasts don't mind. So I think we've found a pretty close balance between the two with these mounts. I'd say that.
But we're gonna say it's comfortable, and then somebody's gonna be like, "Yo, that's the harshest thing I've ever rode in," and I'm gonna be like, "Wow, I'm sorry."
That's personal preference.
It is personal preference, but if anybody's ever interested and they want to come by to the shop, we're always here.